Now we will learn about the higher states of consciousness. You now have a regular meditation practice, and you may have started to have some interesting experiences that unfold with regular meditation. There are 7 different states of consciousness. Higher levels of consciousness unfold naturally with regular meditation. This discussion can feel abstract for many people and kind of unreal. As I mentioned earlier in class, I've been on a spiritual vision quest for many years, trying to learn and experience higher states of consciousness to try to respond to this feeling of seeking and really yearning to find answers to the existential questions that keep coming up for me. When I first heard the term higher states of consciousness, I didn't really have a clue what they were or how you get there. And now I have a little experience, but I don't claim to have all the answers. I do think that we all have so much more intuitive ability and potential that can unfold for us. For me, just the confirmation that there are higher levels of consciousness was a tremendous feeling of almost relief. There is more to life than what we experience when we're awake and asleep. My whole life, I've been somewhat aware of subtle energies, and for lack of a better term, the invisible domain beyond the 5 senses. For me, when I got my own mantra and I started to meditate with it, I felt an acceleration of information starting to come into my awareness, not usually in the actual meditation time, but in life in general. There are 7 different levels of consciousness that have been identified. These are experiences that transcend our normal waking reality. It's very important to continue with your twice daily meditations so that you also have your own experience to go with the grounding that you will hear about today. Higher states of consciousness are really our true state of consciousness, our birthright. What most people experience in their daily lives and what society has accepted as normal is only a fraction of what we're capable of experiencing. Now, you have already experienced types of expanded awareness. You've experienced this if you've ever fallen in love, or maybe you've had the experience where time just passes and you lose track of time. Maybe as though the activity was happening through you. This is what happens when I'm painting. I can spend an hour and think it was just a few minutes. Have you ever had the experience where everyone around you seemed to be caught up in drama, but you seem to have more perspective, more balance, more equanimity? Have you ever been thinking about someone and they reach out to you? Have you ever thought something would unfold a certain way and then it did? Maybe you've noticed that your personal relationships become more loving and compassionate, or you feel a deeper, more caring relationship with the environment. Maybe you start to feel more calm, centered, and intuitive in daily life. Maybe you experience a greater sense of meaning or a desire to serve in some way. Maybe you begin to feel cared for, not so much by another person, but in general. Or you feel less regret about the past and less anxiety about the future. Or you have seen events mesh together in synchronicity and it takes less effort to get to a result, like those days when every light seems to turn green when you hit it. You find the parking place right outside the store. The store has exactly what you want. There's no line when you pay. Or maybe your soul is stirred more often by a profound sense of gratitude, beauty, compassion, awe. Or you're looking out at a beautiful sunrise or gazing at a mountain, and you have that sense that everything slips away for a moment and you have a feeling of bliss. We have all had glimpses of this. You merge with the sunset, looking at the mountain, and suddenly you have the feeling you are the mountain. Or saying, "It was so beautiful, time stood still, it took my breath away." All of those things are glimpses of higher states of consciousness. I'm sure you've heard sayings like, You're not in the universe is in you. These kind of sayings make me feel empowered. If you don't like your situation, then change it. You have so much more power than you may realize. You're holding the remote control to your life. If you don't like the current movie of your life, change to another channel. In meditation, you realize it's your universe and you can change it. Humans are unique. We have the gift of being able to become self aware. If you believe in reincarnation, you might believe that we were once a rock or a mineral or a plant, and we have evolved to now have a human life. And humans have the ability to change our lives and reawaken our true state of consciousness. Most people live limited lives that only use a fraction of their potential. They live from the point of view of constricted awareness. This is a kind of prison. And meditation allows us to escape from this prison of the past. When we slip into the gap, we go beyond memories and desires, and we can break out of our habits and get a glimpse of the soul and bring it back into our lives. If you've spent any time studying quantum physics, you have heard that everything we perceive with our senses is in space time. Maybe we can't locate a thought or an emotion in space, but there is a time and space for everything we experience in our lives. But the experiencer, the one who's having the experience, is beyond space and time. When I was starting to study, I kept hearing Deepak Chopra and other teachers, quantum physicists, use the term non-local and saying that our soul, the true you, is beyond limitation. And I kept wondering, what does that really mean? Non-local pure awareness, what is that? They say it's the potential for all experiences. When we slip into the gap, we slip into the space of non-local awareness. We're not our thoughts. We're not our mind. We're not our body. We are the experiencer. I needed an example of what this means. One way to think of this is to imagine electromagnetic information fields that surround us, radio waves, TV programs, telephone signals. They're all around us, but we're not aware until we tune in. The signal that your news program sends out is non-local. You can't see it or touch it. You tune in on your phone or TV or laptop and you give it attention, and that localizes the non-local into the experience of the news. The TV is the instrument that localizes the non-local signal, like our mind and body localize the non-local spirit. Your phone may not have a huge amount of memory, but you can still upload your photos and videos in a way that results in them being stored in the cloud. Now, you can't find the cloud locally, but you can access it. If your TV is not tuned in when you're trying to watch the news, your picture might be fuzzy, or if you're not connected to Wi-Fi, you have a harder time uploading to the cloud. And this is what happens when we're filled with stress and fatigue and toxins. Then we get a distorted signal or we feel disconnected because we're not seeing the true reality. Through meditation, we start to release the stress and toxins, and then spirit flows through us and shines in us like the sun. We're getting a clearer signal. We're tuned in. When the sun is obscured by clouds, that's like us under stress. Through regular meditation, we allow the sun to shine through us. So hopefully those TV and cloud analogies help you understand local versus non-local. To take the idea further, we're not our thoughts, we're not our mind, we're not our body. It's our attention that localizes our non-local experiences. When we slip into the gap in meditation, we meet this experiencer, this soul, this witnessing of our true self. And in the soul is the potential for all experiences. We only know we've been somewhere non-local when we come out of it. So there are 7 states of consciousness, and everyone can experience them on their own spiritual journey. Each state of consciousness has its own biology. Each of them is real when we're in it. We're very familiar with 3 of those states. And that's what we'll talk about next.